Being vulnerable, our ability to be vulnerable, it's something that I think changes. It changes through our lives. There are times and situations where it's easy for us to be vulnerable, and there are other times where it's way more challenging. I remember when I was in a long-term relationship, depending on the argument or disappointment I had, it would be easier for me depending on how activating it was, depending on the other things I was experiencing in my life. It would determine my ability to be vulnerable with my. In today's video, we are going to explore the reasons why we are not vulnerable and what we can do to get back to that place of feeling comfortable and safe to opening up to others and connect with that place of vulnerability. For a lot of us, one of the main reasons why we don't feel comfortable being vulnerable is because we don't feel safe to express what we feel because we are afraid of what other people are going to think about our emotions or our thoughts or experience. Also, for a lot of us that are empathic, sensitive, that maybe we identify ourselves as people pleasers, it's just something that we learn and we have repeated for many years that we anticipate what other people are going to feel and what they are going to think. So we do whatever it takes to always make sure that they are going to like us. So we ended up changing what we are thinking or what we are feeling. So it's just a behavior. And unfortunately, what's happening, yes, we might be making other people feel a little bit more comfortable, but of course, we are not being able to be vulnerable and we are not being able to have deeper connections with people, which is at the end of the day, it's not what, of course, I would say most of us want. So I think we all crave and we all would love to build those deep connections with people. And their first step is always going to be the authentic selves we are, and we are not going to be able to be the authentic selves we are if we are not vulnerable. Another behavior that is linked to being a people pleaser and that doesn't help us in the process of being vulnerable is that we learned to have this expectation of wanting things to be perfect, and in the process of wanting things to be perfect, of course, emotions are never going to be perfect. Emotions are very messy. So, we might be waiting to understand deeply our emotions and waiting, yeah, until we have our emotion looking perfect so we get to share it with others. And that's just not how life works. There are moments where emotions can be a little bit more clear, and there are times where emotions are just very confusing, and there are moments where emotions are new, so we don't even know what they mean. And the beauty of being vulnerable is that a lot of the times, no, I would say 100% of the times, what happens is that we don't even know what other people are experiencing, and it's this wonderful, powerful thing that we humans get to experience. I don't even know if animals can do something similar, but in the moment we tap into that place of vulnerability and we share what we are feeling, even if it's in our mind silly or too, I don't know, simple. If we think that people are going to think that, yeah, it's maybe too silly, too simple, and we are making such a big deal of it. When we get to express it exactly how it is, sorry, I keep saying a lot of the times, 100% of the times, what happens is that someone might be experiencing something similar. So the other person might have been experiencing the same thing from a different angle, from a different context. And that's how we create connection. People, when they hear what we are experiencing, they might have some memories from the past where they, by us sharing what we're feeling and thinking, they will have these can have these memories from the past where they're like, oh my god, I used to feel that way. Maybe I feel different now. A lot of wonderful things can happen. So being vulnerable is never something that it's only for ourselves. It's something that creates this ripple effect with others, where we touch hearts and we create movement, and that's how we create the deeper connections um, with others and with ourselves. Because what happens is that we just discover all these other parts about who we are and who we are becoming. But we don't get to see those things if we don't open up our hearts, if we don't get to be vulnerable. What happens when we are aware that we have the people pleaser tendency and the perfectionist tendency in our personalities is that we also have this idea that we have to be this other person, that we have to do a lot all the time, that we have to, this is going to be different for everyone, but I think a very common one is that we have to overdo things, that we might have to work way more hours, or we have to work out more than we really want, or we have to wear more makeup, or we have to be better partner, better. And it's of course always great to improve ourselves, but it can be very exhausting trying to match everyone's expectations. And we are just not aware, and we are not used to just being ourselves. We are, it's almost like we are afraid to just be who we are. And that's why I see that for a lot of people, including myself, we just don't get to be vulnerable, because we're always kind of um, creating new projects for ourselves. Like, okay, I need to work more. I need to create more. I need to. It's like we are in that energy of we need more. We need to be more, and we are just not used to, and we don't feel comfortable with just being. And talking a little bit about that energy, that place of just being, is that we create a lot of acceptance. We in the moment we are present, we are just being who we are. We create acceptance for who we are. And little by little, we start opening up. We start finding that everything we are, it's okay and it's perfect. So we are in a safe place. We feel comfortable to share. Okay, yeah, I'm feeling a little, whatever you're feeling. I'm feeling a little overwhelmed. I'm feeling a little tired. I'm feeling a little sleepy. And in the moment we start sharing those simple things we are, that's the authentic self that we are. And it's funny because it's one of those things that a lot of people talk about, authenticity and how to become more authentic, and it's almost like it sounds like this very complex process, and it is as simple as that, being present and being okay with who we are, with what we have in each moment, and sharing from that place with others. The last part that I would love to share for anyone that might be exploring at the moment this idea of being vulnerable and why it's a little difficult, especially if you identify with what I've been sharing of being a perfectionist and being a people pleaser. It's the part that when we are being a people pleaser, we have the ability. I keep saying this ability, and it sounds positive, but I don't want you to think that it's a positive thing. It's something that definitely it would be way better for us if we don't continue to uh, practice. And it's the anticipating what other person are going, what other people are going to think and feel. So what's happening in that moment is that again, it's something that is in autopilot. We have been doing it for many, many years. We're very used to interacting with people from that place. So what we're experiencing is dysregulation. We are having some kind of anxiety in that moment. We don't even realize. It's one of those things that I think is crazy I have other videos where I talk about anxiety and how we can regulate our nervous system, but we have normalized so much in our lives. Like anxiety has a massive spectrum, and of course, there are very chronic and crazy anxiety, but there are these other levels of anxiety. Dysregulation, I think it's a good way to call it, to name it. So when we are interacting with people, when we have been a people pleaser or a perfectionist in our lives, we are having this little dysregulation, and in that moment, it's when we have the opportunity to choose if we want to just create the version we think the other person wants from us, or if we want to choose to just be ourselves. So I just wanted to share that little piece, part of the whole process of how to be more vulnerable in our lives, because that's what is going to help you from now. Every time that you have interactions with people, and you already know in your heart, like, I wish I could be more vulnerable. That's the moment where you are going to have the options to choose. Okay, I'm going to continue to keep matching what they want from me, what I think they want from me, or I'm going to start choosing to just be, and believe that by just being who I am, it is enough, and it is okay, and I don't have to change anything. And trusting that by you being you, yes, you might create some rejection from people. Some people might not like, what they're going to see about your personality. But then you're going also to open up to people, because what's happening is that when we are performing and we are matching expectations from others, is that we are creating this confusing personality. So people that would really like us would never find us. And then by us practicing, becoming more comfortable with being vulnerable and making others a little uncomfortable, then we are reaffirming this authentic personality, this authentic being we are. And that's how the great people we want around us they're going to find us. That's the way how they will find us, by us reinforcing who we really are. Something else that you can practice in this process of being more vulnerable, especially if you identify yourself as a sensitive person, very empathic person, people pleaser, perfectionist. It is really important that you spend, I would say, a good amount of time by yourself, because we're so used to picking up energy and emotions from others. So it's almost like our mind, it's always running, um, always figuring out what others want and need, and we don't have enough space to really understand what we want and what we need and who we are. So I really recommend to, yeah, create more space in your day to spend time with yourself. Have some solo time, walks, do the find the way that you like spending time with yourself. I love going on walks, and I'm at a mall at the moment. I recently moved to Miami, so I'm still kind of exploring the city. I feel like malls, for some reason, give me a little energy. It's like a lot of people, um, doing something exciting, shopping. So yeah, finding those activities that connect you to who you are. I think on my other videos I talk about giving yourself, your present self, the person you are at the moment, what you like, but also to your younger version of yourself, the younger version of yourself, your inner child, your little you, the things that make you happy. That's a place where our authenticity lives. So it's a good place to go back. So that's how you get inspired and you reconnect to who you really are. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you are a little inspired and you have some good tools now to work on being more vulnerable with your friends and with yourself. I hope to see you on my next video. Peace and love.